Yashodanandana vraja janaranjana Yamuna tira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana vraja janaranjana Yamuna tira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana vraja janaranjana Yamuna tira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai, Ashta Sakis Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Nrsimhadev Bhagavan Ki Jai, Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai, Pancha Tattva Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhakti bhavati naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, 10th chapter, verse 17. Is it marked? Yes. prāṇenākṣipatā kṣut trid antarā jāyate vibhoḥ pipāsato jakṣataś prāṇ mukham nirabhidyata prāṇenākṣipatā kṣut trid antarā jāyate vibhoḥ pipāsato jakṣataś prāṇ nirabhidyata prāṇenākṣipatā kṣut trid antarā jāyate vibhoḥ pipāsato jakṣataś prāṇ mukham nirabhidyata. Antarā jāyate vibhoḥ pipāsato jakṣataś prāṇ mukham nirabhidyata prāṇenākṣipatā kṣut trid antarā jāyate vibhoḥ pipāsato jakṣataś prāṇ mukham nirabhidyata prāṇenākṣipatā kṣut trid antarā jāyate vibhoḥ pipāsato jakṣataś prāṇ mukham nirabhidyata. Word for word. Prāṇena, by the living force. ākṣipatā, being agitated. Kṣut, hunger. Trit, thirst. Antarā, from within. Jāyate, generates. Vibhoḥ, of the Supreme. Pipāsato, being desirous to quench the thirst. Jakṣataḥ, being desirous to eat. Cha, end. Prāk, at first. Mukham, the mouth. Nirabhidyata, was opened. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The living force, being agitated by the virāṭ-puruṣa, generated hunger and thirst, and when he desired to drink and eat, the mouth opened. Purport. The process by which all living beings in the womb of the mother develop their sense organs and sense perceptions appear to follow the same principles in the case of the virāṭ-puruṣa, the sum total of all living entities. Therefore, the supreme cause of all generation is not impersonal or without desire. The desires for all kinds of sense perception and sense organs exist in the Supreme, and thus they take place in the individual persons. This desire is the nature of the Supreme Living Being, the Absolute Truth. Because he has the sum total of all mouths, the individual living entities have mouths. Similarly, with all other senses and sense organs, here the mouth is the symbolic representation of all sense organs, for the same principles apply to the others also. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripata Maham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Scha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. He Krishna karuna sindhu dina bandhu jagatpate gopesha gopika kanta radha kanta namostute tapta kanchana gorangi radhe vrindavaneshwari rishabhanu sute devi pranamami hari priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, I'm getting my notes. This part of Srimad Bhagavatam is about the creation of virāṭ-puruṣa. normally, usually, devotees, they like to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. They don't like so much to hear about the creation of the universe. And also they don't like much to hear about the virāṭ-puruṣa form of the Lord. So I can imagine that hearing about the creation of virāṭ-puruṣa also might not generally be very interesting. And I know that the general practice is, okay, let's speak a little bit about this, but then we move on to more interesting topics. Actually, Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, we will hear in later purports, they say that for a devotee who is still attached to the material world, to hear about creation is more beneficial than hearing about the pastimes directly, because this conditioned attached devotee, he is not yet able to understand the pastimes. He takes them as common affairs. And it is actually the pastime of creation which help him understand his position in the material world and his situation and his relationship with the world. And it is from this understanding that he can establish the relationship with Krishna. But this is the first stage. This is necessary in order for him to come to this higher level. Of course, we mostly think that, well, we are already at that higher level, so this doesn't apply to me. However, I will take the position of not being yet at the higher level, so I like to speak about the topic here mentioned, creation of virāṭ-puruṣa. And actually, Krishna also speaks about this creation in Bhagavad Gita. Can you, maybe you know where he's speaking about? It's not in the 11th chapter where he shows his universal form, so it's somewhere else. Ha? Yeah, I had another chapter in mind. So anyway, this is what I prepared. He answers at the beginning of the 3rd chapter. Arjuna is confused. He says, Krishna, you tell me to fight, but then you also tell me that intelligence is better than work. So your instructions are equivocal, he says. And please tell me, like explain to me definitely which is best for me. What should I do? And then Krishna says, Yagyartat karmanonya tra lokoyam karma bandhana, tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. So he mentions here this yagya. What he needs to do, Krishna says, he needs to perform yagya. And yagya means Lord Vishnu, or sacrificial performances for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. Yagya vai Vishnu. And then in the Purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that for us, this performance of yagya means Krishna consciousness. Just like it is in ISKCON means International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So it means we are performing this yagya. So any other work besides this yagya will be a cause of bondage. And while performing such activities, one is already in a liberated stage. Therefore, nothing should be performed for sense gratification, but everything should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. And this practice will elevate one to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So this is how the process starts. You do work, and then you get purified, and then you become elevated to perform devotional service. Then Krishna continues, Saha yagya praja srištva purvacha prajapati anena prashavishya dvam esha vo stvishta kamaduk. In the beginning of creation, so here we come at this point in the Bhagavatam where it is described. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures, Prajapati, so that's Vishnu, sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu. So all of these things appeared together, and blessed them by saying, be thou happy by this yagya sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. So we see this is the system that by performance of yagya, not only we achieve liberation, but we are also able to live happily, because the demigods then they are satisfied by the yagya, and then they provide all that is needed for a happy life on earth. Prabhupada says, material creation by the Lord is a chance offered to the conditioned souls to come back home, back to Godhead. It's not for sense gratification. And Vedic principles are there to help us understand this eternal relation. Prajapati is Lord Vishnu, Lord of all living creatures, and he is also the protector of everyone. And how the Lord created this material world to enable conditioned souls to learn how to perform yagyas for the satisfaction of Vishnu, so that while in the material world they can live without anxiety, and after finishing the body they can enter into the kingdom of God. When Srila Prabhupada was preparing to go to New York, to the West, he asked this old lady, Sumati Moraji was her name, for a ticket on a Jaladuta ship. And she was a little bit hesitant to give him this ticket, because she said, you are an old man. What will you do there? You will just perish. She was afraid that if he leaves body, that it will be her fault, because she provided this journey for him. But we see that actually, and I found this humorous, that Prabhupada's idea was that he's going to the West so that he can provide prosperity and happiness for the entire world. And that he was seeing that this is, unless he does this, that people will not be able to achieve anything, because this lacking of understanding that a yagya needs to be performed for a successful life is completely absent in the modern world, in the education, in the science, and that people think today that we just work hard and we provide everything for ourselves. Well, he was aware that this is not so. So he saw that the humanity is in a precarious situation, and that it is his duty as a Vaishnava to help people. So let me continue with this Krishna speaking with Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Next he says, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu va parasparam bhavayanta shreya param avapsyata. The demigods, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you, and then by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. What is this cooperation? Well, first of all, it means that demigods should be acknowledged, and they should be given thanks. And we see that in the past, everywhere around the world, this was common practice. If you check ancient history of any continent, South America, North America, Japan, Africa, Europe, we see that everywhere people were giving thanks to demigods. And this was around the globe present. It is universal religion. Somehow it seems that this practice is not compatible with Kali Yuga because it was abandoned everywhere, and then religions that came were strongly preaching against it. And we are also preaching against it because we say, no, you don't need to worship demigods. Intelligent person does not worship demigods. Intelligent person worships directly the Supreme Person, Lord Krishna, who incarnated as Lord Chaitanya in Kali Yuga to spread the Sankirtan movement. However, we acknowledge that the demigods are there, and we, as we see, it is described in the Bhagavatam, we learned how they are managing the universe, and we appreciate them for their service, and we have this understanding that the demigods, they are also devotees, and they are performing this service for satisfaction of Vishnu. So this is this cooperation that is currently not happening. And I thought maybe some analogy to explain how the world, what is this situation in Kali Yuga that the world is in. That would be like if somebody moves into a big city, and then this person thinks that nobody is managing this city. Everything is just there mechanically, automatically, like food appears in the shop without anybody arranging for the food, and the garbage is taken away without any effort whatsoever by any persons. And he thinks, well, I can just exploit whatever is there because these are my resources, and I want to live a happy life, so therefore I can just take whatever is there, and I am not obliged to admit, to even notice that there are other persons who are providing facilities for me. So we can understand that such a person would very soon get in trouble, that either he would end up in prison or in a mental institution. And in this analogy, I wanted to show that this is the situation that the world is today, where the factories and companies, they're using resources without ever acknowledging that these resources are being provided to humans by the demigods. So you can imagine how they feel if you were in their situation. How would you feel by being ignored by these humans? They are not happy. we see today that even I was listening news, even in I mean, especially in India, there are so many rivers over flooding, and in Sikkim there was a big lake that burst out of the riverbed, out of the lake bed, and a huge amount of water carried away many houses. Even national road is washed away. Big disaster. And then if you hear in the news about this, then explanation is giving that, oh, this is because of climate change. And then we have to figure out how to kind of make the nature serve us and not be destructive. And we have to control the nature, we have to build dams, everything needs to be according to our, everything needs to be arranged according to our needs, so that we have rain when we want and not have rain when we don't. So everything should be like this, but then this nature somehow is not cooperating, it's doing so much damage. And so it's a mystery. Why is this happening? Actually, it's not a mystery. This is explained, of course, in the Vedas, and we learn from the Bhagavatam that river, she's a deity, she's a personality. That lake is also a deity, personality. Ocean is a living person. And if you neglect these deities, then they will become angry. So this is what people in the past all knew. You have to please the deities which are present there in nature. But somehow we learn in schools that these kind of ideas are primitive. This is not really religion. This is some kind of superstition. And the world we found out by scientific discovery that the world is made of dead matter, and that there's actually nobody there. This is just because those people in the past, they were not evolved enough. So that's why they had these funny ideas that there are deities everywhere and everything is managed by these deities. But we today, modern people, 21st century, we know better. We know that there is nothing. There is just stone, and there's water and fire and earth and air, and this is just empty elements. So this is what we learn in school. But in Bhagavatam, we learn that actually those people in the past, they got it right. They had better knowledge than we have today. And what does it mean for us? I think that it means that we should let them know that climate change is caused, what they call climate change is caused by the devatas who are managing the universe. And if they are sending floods, that means they are not happy with us. Okay, I will now go back to what is Krishna speaking in Bhagavad Gita. Ishtan Bogan Hivodeva Dasyante Yagya Bhavita Tairdatan Apradayabhyo Yobhunkte Stena Evasa. In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yagya, sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. So Prabhupada explains. So demigods, they are authorized supplying agents. And a society of thieves can never be happy because they have no aim in life. I just remember there was advertisement MasterCard advertisement. All things in life are best things in life are free, and for everything else there is MasterCard. So now I'm advertising MasterCard. Actually, it's wrong. Best things in life: air, water, food. They are not free. They are given to us by authorized supplying agents, and we owe them their generosity. Just like a child who is provided by parents, when he grows up, when he is a child, he doesn't know. He just thinks food appears on the table, and when I'm cold, there is heating, and when I need something, my parents are there to give it to me. But when he grows old, then he understands what a sacrifice his parents did for him to take care of him, and then he feels obliged to take care of his elderly parents, that he is so grateful, or he should be so grateful. Once this understanding is lacking in the modern world. Once there was some businessman who approached Srila Prabhupada, and he was producing glass, and he was saying to Prabhupada, well, I take the sand and I make glass, and that's how I make money. And he was, I think this happened in Mayapur. He was proud how he's able to invest and earn money, but Prabhupada told him, yes, but where is this sand coming from? And this man was confused. He said, well, it's just there. I take it from the ground, from earth. And then Prabhupada told him, this means you are a thief, because you are stealing sand and then producing glass and earning money, so you are a thief. And this person was surprised that he was expecting how Prabhupada would glorify him, but instead he chastised him. And then, but because he was a pious person, he immediately understood, yes, I should give something back. I should support this mission, so that at least in that way I give back what I have stolen from earth. Next, Krishna says, Yagya shishta shinasanto muchyante sarva kilbishai bunjate te tvagam papa ye pachanti atma karanat. Devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sins. So this is what was the problem with those sacrifices performed in the past, that in the end everybody were just sacrificing animals because they wanted to eat meat, and the only way to sanctify this eating is to offer. Then everybody were killing animals and then offering to demigods, and this was misuse of the system. The system is perfect. System is always perfect, but somehow humans, they have this tendency to kind of look for the blind spot, so to say, and then distort everything with their material propensities. And then, obviously, the Lord needs to come back again and again, and then restore Dharma, because the tendency is, throughout the history, we see that religion is there, and the system is perfect, but somehow humans, they always find a way to to interpret things for their own advantage. And then situation was, okay, everybody was sacrificing these animals, but the Lord is not pleased with this. Ultimately, this was not his idea. His idea was that everybody is advancing in their life, and that they come to the level of liberation where they actually want to leave this world, and not that they just sacrifice so that they stay in this world forever and enjoy material life. So that is why we see in Kali Yuga this practice, especially of animal sacrifice, is completely abandoned actually by all religions. They don't anymore endorse these activities. However, in the Vedas it is there. That is why Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada explains how demigods are different limbs of the Lord, and they are all also automatically worshipped when Lord Krishna is worshipped. And the Lord can be satisfied by sacrifices, and one who cannot perform them will find himself in scarcity. Like we see many people today living in the world, they find themselves in scarcity, and somehow they think by working hard they will acquire wealth. But this is not so. Even if they do acquire this wealth, but if they are sinful, this wealth will not stay with them for so long. Because the prosperity of the world depends not on our own efforts, but on the background arrangement of the Supreme Lord, which is directly carried out by the demigods. And when one masters the performance of yajna, one is sure to become Krishna conscious. That was the goal of all this system. I remember once telling, in my very brief Sankirtan attempts, I was once telling one person how it is a famous phrase, the source of your income is not the source of your maintenance. Because we have this understanding, it's the Lord who maintains us, and by pleasing Him that we are maintained. Sometimes devotees, they go on Harinam, and I think in the beginning also when Harinams were very new in the West, then stand buyers would shout at them, get a job, what is this nonsense? And actually it is the other way around. It is the performance of Sankirtan Yajna and of the chanting of the holy name, which is practically the only, because it is Yuga Dharma, it is the only activity in Kali Yuga which can satisfy demigods and which is satisfying to the lords. So it is actually those devotees who are doing Sankirtan Yajna, singing Harinam in the streets, singing the names of lords in the streets, in public, in temples. It is them who are maintaining by their yajna, they are maintaining the whole world. And it's not how people think that people work hard and then they support these lazy bums who don't do anything. So somehow, if we could get people at least to understand this, that it is our sacrifice who is maintaining you actually, and not that we depend on your working hard and earning money. It is a big shift somehow. Hopefully it will happen. Yes. I wanted to also give a preview of what will be said in the next, this is the first verse that the mouth of virāṭ-puruṣa opened, because the Lord, he desires to taste food and water, and therefore his mouth opened. And in the next verses we will be hearing, in the next 12 verses, how each organ in the body is created because of the desire of Lord for a certain he desires to experience certain things, and that is why his mouth opened, because he wanted to taste water and food, and that is why the tongue in the mouth was created. And also together with the sense object and sense organ, the deity is created. And this deity is Varuna. He is the deity who is in charge of distributing water. Then he wanted to smell, and then the nose, the organ appeared, and also the odors, the smells, the sense objects appeared. And then there is also controlling deity of air. Then he wanted to see, to have power of vision, and at the same time the objects appeared for him to see, and the deity Sun God appeared. Then he wanted to hear, and then the ear, the organ of ear appeared, and the objects of hearing, the sound appeared, and also the controlling deity of hearing appeared. Then he wanted to touch physical characteristics of matter, and the skin appeared, and also it says the controlling deities for these are trees. I found it interesting. Usually we think trees are lesser entities, they're non-moving living entities, but it seems that they are also controlling deities of hair on the body. Then he wanted to experience varieties of work, and simultaneously different acts dependent on hands appeared, and the controlling deity is Indra. Then he wanted to move, and the legs appeared, and the controlling deity for moving and for legs is directly Vishnu. And then this is explained by Srila Prabhupada. Why is Vishnu directly the supreme deity of legs? This is because personal supervision of this act is because human beings are busily engaged in dutiful occupational sacrifice. And then this sacrifice is what brings the path of world peace. So by performing our occupational duties, we are also performing this yagya for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Prabhupada calls it his dutiful occupational sacrifice. And there are verses in Bhagavad Gita again from the 18th chapter. Svesve karmani abhirata samsiddhim labhate naraha svakarma nirata siddhim yata vindati tachrinu yata pravritir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam svakarmana tam abhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. Just hear from me how one can attain the highest perfection in life simply by discharging his specified occupational duty. Man can attain the highest perfection in life by worshipping the Supreme Lord and by performing sacrifice for the sake of Supreme Lord Vishnu, who is all-pervading, and by whose control every living being acquires his desired facilities according to his personal propensity. I want to stress out that dutiful occupational sacrifice, performing one's dharma, this is not same as making money. We can do our dharma without making money, and this is how this system is actually organized, that there are many members in society who are maintained, and they are still considered that they are doing their dharma. Like small children are maintained, mothers are maintained, old people are maintained. Even in Chaitanya Charitamrita we find that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was maintaining so many family members. Even his son-in-law was maintained by him. And this is in sharp contrast with the modern world again, where if you don't earn money, you are automatically considered a problem in society, and that the main goal of economy is just earning money and producing wealth and buying and selling things. And then according to this system, if you are contributing to this economical system, then you are welcome member of society. But if for some reason you are not producing money, then you are considered a parasite, a homeless person, a problem, and basically an unwanted element. And today many persons find themselves in this situation, that they are not able to earn money. Somehow big companies, they close their facilities, suddenly thousands of people are out of job. Who will employ them all of a sudden? The people very much today struggle, and that is why it is important to know that this system, the system of the Lord, where performance of duty does not mean that economical development, but it means you do your service in society, and then society maintains you, and then this means whether you are child or old person or a woman, that you are already valuable as human being, and your value is in your status of being a human who is trying to do this yagya for the pleasure of Vishnu, and then the goal is liberation and of course going back to Godhead for us. So that is the value of the human being, and not that those who earn money, they are valuable members of society, and those who don't participate in economy, they are unwanted, they are problem, they need to be fed. How will we? Why those persons who earn money have to feed those persons who don't earn money? So we see how this economical system, because it is atheistic and godless, it is also very much unsustainable. While the system that Lord provides is very much perfect. And that is the reason why Vishnu is direct deity of legs. Okay, I will just finish this. Then the Lord, he had desire for sexual pleasure, and objects of sexual pleasure appeared together with the presiding deity Prajapati. Then he had desire to evacuate refuse of eatables, and at the same time the organ appeared and evacuating substance, and the presiding deity Mitra was appointed. Then he had desire to move from one body to another. This is interesting, that this is also in part of the creation of virāṭ-puruṣa, that he wanted to move, he wanted to practically die and move to another body, because we are so afraid of death. But it seems this desire is there. I can imagine when one gets old and the body becomes dysfunctional, that this desire becomes somewhat prominent. So somehow there is air, which is called air of departure, which is in the navel, and this air was created together with the deity, which represents this separating force. Well, we will all experience this air of departure one day. Then there is desire to have food and drink. So this is not the same as this first one mentioned in this verse, which creates tongue, but this desire creates abdomen and intestines and arteries in the body of virāṭ-puruṣa, and the presiding deities are rivers and seas, which are the sources of sustenance. So this is mostly to do with digestion of the food that we eat. And then the last one is desire to think and see activities of material creation, which manifests in the heart, which is heart is the seat of mind, with its three functions: thinking, feeling, and willing, and the presiding deity of these sense organs and sense objects is the moon. I found this very similar to how we see in astrology. There are also there are different mansions, nakshatras of the zodiac, and every nakshatra has its presiding deities. And I found this interesting how many of those deities, ruling deities of nakshatras, they are also same as these ruling deities of the senses of virāṭ-puruṣa. And it would be interesting to hear if some speaker, because this will be what we will be hearing in the next few weeks, if some astrologer can competently explain what is this connection between the zodiac and the virāṭ-puruṣa. I want to say that at the end of this chapter, it is funny that Shanaka Rishi, he says to Sutta Goswami, he interrupts him, and he says, no, we don't want to hear any more about this. We had enough. Let us now hear about Vidura and what did he hear from Maitreya Rishi, and where did he go on places of pilgrimage, and what did he do there. So we want to hear more about these topics. We want to hear more about the pastimes of the Lord. So I can imagine that, okay, this is all kind of tedious, and I can just, as a preview, say, don't worry, it will not last very long. Then we will move on to pastimes of Lord's devotees in the third canto. Okay, I will stop here if there are any questions, comments, or corrections. Yes.
Mataji, how the climate is occurred, like floods, how it's happening?
I was speaking about the floods. Well, we heard from this list that rivers are the presiding deities, so they have the power to flood. And also Varuna, who is the deity of water, he is also in charge of distributing water. And we also, here Indra is listed as a deity in charge of the hands, but we know he's also deity who is sending rain, like when he was challenged in Govardhan Lila that Vrajbasis, they stopped worshipping him and they wanted, they were worshipping Krishna. Then he got angry and he sent so much rain that the whole Vraj flooded, and it was only because Krishna directly saved them by lifting Govardhan hill that they survived. So that is how they do it. They directly distribute this what we call elements. This is in their charge, and we are so to say helpless. They are just powerful. Like there are these three concepts: adhyatmika, adhibhautika, adhidaivika. So we are controlled. We are small living entities. We are controlled, and they are controlling us. We are under their control. So we are at their mercy. If they want to kill us, there's nothing we can do. That's just how the world works. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, we can stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gora Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.